All
right. Well, folks, you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the Rec Poker Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Reid, Blusterini in the home games and at Rec Poker Jim on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me and the rest of the wrecking crew, you can go to rec.poker/crew, or you can just listen up because you're about to meet a few of them right now.
Well, I'm Chris Jones. You can find me 5B5 on Twitter or 5x5 in the PokerStars home game.
And I am John Somsky, known as Poker Geek MN everywhere.
I'm Rob Washam, and I'm Radman50 just about everywhere.
And we have to thank our sponsors, the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino, and Mark Bershon over at Website Amp, because what we do over here at Rec Poker is for fun. We're a largely volunteer organization. Most of what we do is free, and we love for folks to come on over and get a free Rec Poker account. Join us in the forums, on Discord, listen to the podcast, submit your own hands for analysis, join the study groups, Chris's seminars, the book club, play in our home games, win real prizes, meet pros, and join our road trips and have fun social activities. It's quite a group of activities that we get up to over here. There's something going on each and every day, often 2 or 3 things. And like I say, it's free to join. So come check us out. We're going to do kind of a cool special episode tonight. I've always wanted to do this. This is something that like real podcasts, real professional shows do all the time. We're going to use some tricks of modern editing to splice together. Unfortunately, our guest Ace Poker couldn't join us at this exact time. So all our YouTube guests are going to be stripped of the opportunity to listen in on the interview. I pre-recorded the interview with Ace earlier today. And so if you're listening to the audio format, this is going to appear seamless. And it's just going to appear like as if a normal interview happened as part of the show. But the geniuses behind the scenes, Roger Schutte and Diego, are going to have worked their magic so that our YouTube audience is going to know, and now you will all, of course, because I've said it out loud, that it was a shorter live show today. And I'm just excited because I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to like pretend that we were going into an interview, but it was not really there. This feels like a professional pivot point for me.
I feel
Chris
like we should do something sort of for our live audience that nobody would ever expect. I don't know what it would be, but
yeah, that's right.
Give them a treat as well.
I think we should. I think what we're going to do is everyone who's in the chat right now, we're not going to do a contest. We're just going to, if you type the words food bank into the chat right now, if you're not already a Rec Poker Premium member, we're just going to give you a free Rec Poker Premium membership for 1 month. How about that? And then you're going to have to tune in to the audio version later in the week to catch up with that great interview with Ace Poker. We did have a lot of fun. We talked about limping strategy, sizing, pre-flop in live events. We talked about his sort of start getting going in poker, how he likes to record things in different secure environments and stuff like that. It was a pretty interesting conversation. So I hope people come and check that out. Let me see. Normally I would say I would start introducing our guest at this point, but I think what I'm going to do is instead I'm going to cue Roger and Diego and say, boy, I can't wait to hear what our friend Ace Poker has to say now. All right. Well, thank you, Ace, for joining us. I've been looking forward to this for a while. So for those who don't know, I was a guest on the Perfect Pair podcast a little while ago. Ace is the host of that, and it's run along with Fun Country Poker, who's a friend of both of ours. So that was a fun way to get to know you a little bit, Ace. Welcome to the Rec Poker podcast.
Thanks for having me. Definitely been looking forward to this myself as well when I scheduled in advance. So thanks for having me.
Nice, man. Now, we're a podcast mostly for recreational players. No surprise there. You're kind of new to the game, but you've made a lot of leaps and bounds since you got into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about sort of what kind of poker you play and a little bit about sort of like what your poker journey has been up until this point?
Yeah, for sure. It's been a fun journey for sure. I started back I'm only 22 now, but I started back when I was 16, 17. My friends, as you get older, you try to think of, some other fun things to do, and obviously too young to, go out and do stuff. So one of my friends suggested, poker, and we were like, sure, we'll play. And of course, like the gambling, all of us, we were like, let's all put up $5 to start. And we just played like a tournament style. And I'm just like a naturally very competitive person. So, after the first time we played, I was already going home looking up like, how to play poker, how to get better at poker, all that good stuff. So after that, I just kind of like fell in love with the game, and it was so fun to keep learning. And then we kind of moved on from like my grade, the grade above me, and the grade below me, all just made like a big group chat. And like, once, twice a week, we would, meet up and just do like a little cash game. It started off like we'd all buy in for $20, like nothing big. And I loved it. I just couldn't stop playing. And then, back when quarantine hit was when I was like 19 at the time. And, I found, Poker Bros, Poker Stars, all that good stuff. Loved that because I was like, all right, well, now I can play for a little bit more money, learn some more stuff here and there. Was probably horrible. Like, it was probably just me giving away all money, all types of money at Poker Stars, Poker Bros, all that good stuff. But then once I turned 21, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna go to the casino. I'm gonna just try it out. I'm like very always open to like just trying new things, and just like I'm a big believer and big fan, and like you'll learn the most by just like doing it, like immersing yourself into it. And I remember I sat down. My first session was at Parks, and I'm also very, very, very ambitious. My first live poker game, I sat down at 2-5. Like I didn't even go into 1-2 or anything like that. Um, so yeah, I just kind of threw myself in there, and I'll never forget the first day I played. I had no idea that you had to like announce your raises, nothing like that. So like my first like welcome into poker, I had pocket tens, and there was like a limp or two, and I tried to raise it to $25. So I threw out, green $25 chip. And like, somebody else like called $5, and I was like, I made it 25. And
Yeah,
the dealer was like, you didn't say anything. I was like, I didn't know you had to say anything. So funny enough, it limped around, and I flopped top set. I'm like 10-3-5 rainbow, and I bet it out, and like somebody called, and then somebody wound up just turning a gutter with like
Oh,
4-7 offsuit, and I lost like
hmm.
200. Thankfully, only had like $200, but I was like, well, now I'm never gonna not announce a raise ever again.
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. Some
so
of those things we have to like, we got to feel the pain
yeah,
to learn
yeah,
that, that's one of the fun things about getting into it live.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
now you play quite a lot. You play live.
Uh,
You chronicle it on your YouTube channel. You've
mhm.
got the podcast here as well. How do you kind of define your own space in the poker world? When people ask you like, what's your role in the poker world? How do you answer that question?
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good question because when I first started, so like after I played a couple months live, I said to my friends, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start a poker vlog. And ever since the beginning, ever since I started it, like it's never been about the money. It's never been about like trying to build up and like make a paid course or nothing, because like I'm obviously not like the best. Like I just wanted to build a community, and I wanted to meet people, and just like the pure fact that like people will watch my content, and the fact that like a lot of times I go to the casino and people are like, oh, I watch your videos, like nice to meet you, like that makes me feel awesome. And then especially like I made a Discord, like it's like a group chat, for people, and like building up my Twitter and Instagram. Like I just want to build like a fun community, like where people can talk to other people, like make new friends, learn poker for free. Like I'm always discussing my hands for free, other people are posting their hands. I'll always give my input. Like it's never like me telling you how to play the game because I'm no expert, but I just love like the whole community aspect of it, and just, you know, being able to like pioneer that, and be at the forefront of that is awesome. So I hope that I can just keep building a community and just getting everybody closer. And it's just like the fact that like the world just needs like nice people out there, and like to
Yeah.
be more together, like that's just what I want to do.
Yeah, I
So
love it, man. Well, that resonates a lot with what we're doing over here, of course. And I know we
mhm.
had a lot in common when we did that Perfect Pair episode as well. And I think, putting good people in touch with good people in the game of poker, that's a mission we should all have. So I love
For
that idea.
sure.
So how often do you play? Is it mostly live? Are you still playing online? And we'll talk into some of the ways that you like study and prepare after that. But when
Mhm.
it comes to strictly time playing, what's that like?
Yeah, so I would love to be able to play more than I do. I'm in kind of like a weird spot where I live. Like the nearest casino is an hour, and that's Parks. Then it's like hour and a half to Atlantic City, hour and a half to most places in Philly and in Delaware. Um, and I've had a bunch of problems with like filming and stuff over here. So like the nearest
Hmm.
place I can actually like play and film in the casino is an hour 45. So for a little while, I was just making that trip once a week, and I would get in, one or two sessions, which is not the best, but it's still a decent amount. And in the last 3 weeks, I found like a bunch of home games out here. I've met a ton of really, really good people. So I've kind of gotten into my schedule of like now I'm playing 2 or 3 times a week, which has been really, really good. So that's where I'm at right now.
Nice. And you get better by playing and you're talking
Hmm.
about your hands a lot with other people and chatting with them on Discord and that sort of thing. So that's a good
Hmm.
exercise as well. Do you have any like active studying or how do you improve at the game? How do you study and how do you get better at the game?
Yeah, so that's another really, really interesting thing about me is the way I learned poker and how I learned poker was seriously strictly just watching vlogs. Like I've watched thousands and thousands of vlogs through every vlogger, taking bits and pieces of like, what I see they're doing right, what I see they're doing wrong, and incorporated that into my own game and just really playing live. Like it's been so, so fun to like, I'm very, very, very critical of myself where when I'm playing and something goes wrong, like I'll immediately catch it and be like, okay, never again.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
yeah, like if I lose money or whatever, like I can be able to just process the hand in my head real quick and be like, okay, this is where I messed up. Like I know what I did wrong here. Um, so it's been a lot of that and like discussing hands with people and stuff like that. But I have been trying to look into, some of what the best like study material is. Like I know people use like Upswing or poker coaching and stuff like that. So I definitely have to look into that. It's just been like I've been so full focused on networking and growing my stuff that I really haven't really had much time to study. I know I do need to study, but it's just been more of just like picking up on my mistakes like right away when I play, which is good.
Yeah, well, picking up on mistakes is a key trait in a successful poker player, whether it's yours
Mhm.
or other people's. What are some of the mistakes that I'm not so do you still is it 2-5 that you play a lot when you're playing cash? And what are some of the mistakes that people in that player pool make and how do you capitalize on that and exploit those mistakes?
Yeah, so a lot of people are kind of just I guess like over limping and what I've learned at least myself is like I tend to raise like pretty big. Like a standard raise in like, most cash games is just like three big blinds, maybe like two and a half big blinds, something like that. When I'm playing 2-5, like I pretty much standardly open to like 25 or 30 bucks, which is like a 5 or 6x raise, which is like to a lot of people that's a lot, but I can't tell you the amount of times like I'm opening to 25, 30 bucks and I'm getting 5, 6 callers, like stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, where it's like I know people are playing extremely wide. And I mean, the other day I was at a home game and there was a straddle to 10 and two people limped. And I looked down at King Jack offsuit on the button. And I was like, this is an awesome opportunity to just, raise pretty big, take down a lot of dead money. So I made it 60 bucks and three people called 60 bucks. So it's like, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but yeah, a lot of the mistakes I mean, that I'm picking up on is like, it's like yesterday I went to a new home game and just to like trying to like feel people out. I kind of do a lot of like overlimping in the beginning just to kind of like see what people are playing and stuff. So I made a mistake on it. I limped ace seven suited and like I flopped a pair and a flush draw, which was like a crazy flop. And like I bet and I got one caller. The turn was like a brick. I bet he called and then I rivered the nut flush, but the board was paired, but it was ace six jack eight eight. So I'm like, what, I mean, what boats is he gonna really have here? So I mean, I bet out for 75 and he raised to 250 and I just kind of couldn't really throw it away. And I called and he had jack eight offsuit. So it's like stuff where I'm like, obviously, like that hand's not going to be in there if I raise. Well, I mean, who knows if it's going to be in there if I raise, but I mean, there's a really good chance that it's not going to be in there. So it's just like instead of really just feeling people out, I just have to just go in and play my game and stuff. But as soon as the hand's over, I'm like, okay, well, yes, obviously I should have raised that pre-flop or folding. Like I shouldn't be doing much limping myself. And that's kind of like a strategy that I've implemented, which is I think a good strategy is I really rarely ever limp. I'm always, raising, three betting or folding. I think that's a great strategy to employ in cash games, especially when if you're going to raise, you're going to get 4 or 5 callers every single time, regardless. And it's pretty crazy to me that, like I said, I opened up to 60 and I got a couple callers. Like I play like my VPIP is probably like 15% when I'm at these cash games because of that. And it's just like these people are so recreational that they're not even really picking up like, all right, this kid's not playing any hands. Like I raise and they're just like, fuck it, like I'll still call. Like so I don't know. Yeah.
So tightening up, I guess is one way to exploit those kind of players, right? If they're just coming along too wide. So I want to talk to you about limping a little bit because that's a great segue that you gave me there. I think in a lot of the games that our listeners play in, they see a lot of limps and they sort of face a lot of limps and they're in position. There's 2 or 3 limps leading up to them. So I think we all kind of know that we should be raising with our very strong hands. And I think people can sort of get behind calling in position or like over limping with like low pocket pairs or, speculative hands and that kind of thing. What can you just talk a little bit about some sort of bluffy hands that you might choose in that spot, or like what is it about like King Jack offsuit or other hands like that that you might choose to raise instead of just limping behind or folding?
Yeah, so I just think in particular, like if you see a couple limps in front of you and you look down at cards that have good removal, like if King Queen, I mean King Queen's a good hand, but like King Jack, like I'll usually put in some of those hands like Ace 10, Ace Jack offsuit into those ranges where it's a good hand, but I just think that you'll be like throwing away money or getting yourself into really bad spots if you're just limping those hands. I think they're really good hands to raise and kind of capitalize on some limps because obviously it's a really good opportunity. If I raised King Jack there and then I got everyone to fold, I'll pick up like 35 or $40 for nothing. But that is a good point. The only couple hands that I really will raise is like, that I will limp is usually like pocket twos through like pocket sixes. I just think if you're in a game where like pretty much everyone's calling your raises, that there's really no point in raising those hands because it's almost also that you kind of want a lot of people in the pot with you then because if you flop a set, it's very likely for them to have like a weird 2 pair or something like that for you to get a lot of value from and potentially like cooler somebody else. Like you don't necessarily want to be going heads up with somebody with pocket twos, pocket threes, fours, five, sixes. So those are kind of some of the only hands that I'll limp. Other than that, I'm kind of just trying to be like my play style is more of like a tight aggressive where I'm only playing like better hands, but I'm going to be very aggressive with them.
And you talked about having some issues recording. I'm guessing that has to do with sort of like casino security policy, or they don't want video from inside. Is that a question of asking permission or begging forgiveness? And how do you sort of find out where are the places that you can record?
Yeah, so when I started, I actually like in all honesty wasn't aware that it was kind of like you needed to ask. I obviously know that now. So when I first I have a very interesting story actually. When I first started recording at parks, it was fine. Like, I didn't have any issue. And it was pretty obvious that I was recording. Management never said anything to me. No players ever said anything to me. And when I was about like 8 or 9 vlogs in, I got an email from somebody saying that, they were a recreational player or no, a regular player there. And they didn't like that I was filming and they didn't want pros to be coming to the games. And that like they were strongly advising me to stop and kind of being pretty rude, like saying I'm not going to make any money on YouTube anyways, which like I said, it's not about the money for me. blah blah and all this stuff. And then they, said like if you continue recording, like you're gonna get asked to stop, blah blah. So I just kind of ignored it and just kept filming. And then like I would say maybe like 2 weeks after that, the manager at Parks told me that I can't record there anymore. And I had a long conversation with him. Like he's a great guy. And I learned that in Pennsylvania, it's a Pennsylvania gaming board like legislation rule that nobody can film in all of Pennsylvania. And I've been back and forth with them. They've told me it's about game integrity, it's about privacy, and I've combated their points and said, well, nobody has any idea that I'm filming anyways. So game integrity, like it doesn't change the game at all. And I'm big on privacy myself because like ironically, like I wouldn't want to be on video either at a casino. So if anybody's face, like if I catch anybody's face, I always blur it out. Like I'm very conscious of that. Like I said all those points to them and they just like didn't want to hear it. They just like would ignore me. And I mean, it's our country was built on democracy. So I've said like, is there anything I can bring up? Is there any like vote anyway? Like I could change this, and they still just like ignored me. So Pennsylvania is kind of a lost cause for right now, but it's something similar also in Borgata. Like I was filming there for a couple weeks, and then they tapped me on the shoulder and said somebody complained about you recording. You can't record here anymore, blah blah. So it's been kind of crappy so far over here, but trying my best.
Yeah, well, and you said you've found some success in home games and that kind of thing. Have other casinos or card rooms been more receptive to it, or are you just sort of seeing what works out there?
So the only card room so far, the only one, like I've reached out to so many card rooms, like especially when one Borgata didn't work and when I can't film in Pennsylvania, I reached out to rooms. Like I'm in a good spot where like it's almost like somewhat of the same distance for like Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. It's all like the same drive, like it's all right next to each other. So I reached out to casinos in all those states, like none of the ones in New York got back to me. None of the ones in Maryland really got back to me. But I know for a fact Maryland is more open to it because I've seen vloggers out there and I've talked to some who said Maryland is okay with it. The only one who's like gotten back to me and been like, yes, you can record here is Delaware Park, which is, like I said, an hour 45 for me. And that actually
Right.
was good. It's just like, that's a hike. And,
Sure.
with gas prices and everything, like that's a hike.
Yep.
So when I can make time for it, like I'll try to go down there. But for me right now, like all the home games around me have been like just make the most sense for me. And in terms of like actually like enjoying playing poker, it's been the best for me too, because like when I go to casinos, I mean I'm a friendly person, like I'll talk to people and stuff, but most of the people there are just kind of like headphones on, just whatever. They don't want to deal with anybody. But like at all the home games, like nobody's wearing headphones, everybody's having a good
Right.
time talking and stuff. So that's been like not only easier for me to make content, but just more enjoyable for me in a complete sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the quality of the time spent there, that is a factor,
Yep.
right? We should enjoy that.
Mhm.
Well, last question, I guess. So do you have any poker goals other than, to grow the YouTube channel and the vlog and to grow the number of people that you're contacting and bringing your love of poker to? Any other sort of goals within the poker world?
Yeah, I guess I have a few. So I guess in terms of playing poker, exactly, I do obviously like everybody's, goal and dream is to keep moving up in stakes, but I do want to like build up a bankroll and move up to 510 to where like I'm very comfortable playing 510. And I just want to keep challenging myself to, although like I'm very self-aware to know like I'm not the best player out there, but I at least want to feel like I'm a really good player. So I just want to keep learning and keep moving up the stakes, and that'll be nice to like see results come back in that sense. But in terms of the vlog, yeah, like I just want to keep growing and keep building, and I've been kind of like going like all in, and not
Yeah.
no pun intended. But I have the time where I've just been kind of like grinding and putting out videos and shorts and posting all my stuff to like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. So I've just been really putting my best foot forward. So hopefully like it'll keep paying off and I'll just like keep growing across all my platforms. I mean, one specific goal that I don't know if I'll be able to hit, It's a high goal. I'm striving for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So got 4 months left. So we'll see what we can do there.
There you go. Well, what's the link? Where can people find you if they go to YouTube and they want to subscribe and follow your journey? What's the best way to do it?
You could just type in Ace Poker and I'll pop up, and it's on all my platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's Ace Poker 444. Those are my lucky numbers, like my angel numbers. So
Nice. And the Perfect Pair podcast, is that something you're putting out regularly? And can people find that on your YouTube channel as well?
yeah. You could just type in like Fun Country Podcast on YouTube, and that'll pop up. I've interviewed Jim here, and that was a good one if you guys want to check that out. But about 8 or 9 vloggers as well. I'm up there. So yeah, trying to put those out pretty regularly. So yeah, if you want to check those out, check them out as well.
Awesome. And if folks are interested in learning more about Fun Country Poker, they're someone that we do a lot of work with as well. And we do a weekly play and hang experience there, which is a lot of fun. All right. Well, thank you, Ace. I enjoyed getting to talk with you again. I hope you get some success finding permission to record in all those exciting places, and you meet all those goals you have for success in the poker world. Thank you, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And everyone, check out Rec Poker.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a
Oh my God, guys, we did it. We did it. We're now on the other side of the interview. Holy
That
cow.
was an awesome interview.
Woo,
I really liked the questions that you asked.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I worked hard on
Pretty
those.
insightful.
Chris, what was
Yeah.
your favorite part? Be very specific, Chris. What was your favorite part of the interview?
Well, frankly, I was just sort of I'm always dreading just colossal mess up, and it didn't happen. So that was my favorite part. My favorite part was that it just, there wasn't just a gigantic failure.
Yeah, and really everything that Ace Poker had to say was pretty good. Your part was kind of mediocre, but Ace Poker
agreed.
knocked it out of the park.
It really did.
I'm very impressed with the way he handles himself as a young man that he is. I mean, he's only 21 years old. So, I mean,
Wow.
It's just like, wow, I can't believe that he handles himself the way he does. And he seems to know his way around the poker table.
Rob Washam did his research coming into the interview table today. Beautifully.
He was ready
handled,
we
Rob.
had questions ready.
He did. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
But he stayed silent during the interview. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's right. Listen,
Jim was doing such a great job. I just couldn't interrupt. I just thought everything that I was going to ask was already there. So
that's great. That's fantastic. Oh man, I have so much fun talking to you guys. Yeah, especially about poker. But I swear to God, we would just be doing this about something. I think now that I've cottoned on to use this group here, I never want to leave. So all right, well, that was a fantastic interview with
we
Ace.
could start a podcast about fantasy and science fiction books too.
Oh yes,
somewhere.
we could. We
There we
could
go.
Wouldn't that be
spin off Rob. All right, maybe you're the retired guy, so you gotta be the legs on that one. You start putting some storyboards together, and that sounds pretty freaking sweet, actually.
Or it could be like the poker guys or something, and just do like 20 minutes of sort of sidelight stuff.
Yeah, right. No kidding. No kidding. Oh, we're getting close to that already here. That's a nice, very gentle reminder. Thanks, Chris. Let's get this show back on the rails. So with the interview portion delicately and gracefully handed by a series of professional editors in the modern world, John, what's going on in home game land these days, and who's been kicking butt lately?
Well, we started off, we had our No Limit Hold'em Championship Series on October 3rd. Remember, that's the series where we keep track of points for the entire year. Happens the first Wednesday of every month. And Vanquisto won his or her very first No Limit Hold'em series of the year. Then on August 1st, Torinor Joshua Campbell got his third nightly victory for the year. A big deal. Brian DeHaven got his third nightly victory for the year. B-Chip, Charles Allen got his fifth nightly victory for the year. Poker Gak 36, Naomi Pazol got her second victory for the year. MN Ted got his fourth nightly victory for the year.
He's a beast.
The Took, Brian Cole, won the mixed event.
If it's the Took, there's a good chance that's, there's a French Canadian influence there. You don't get a lot of Yankees calling things Tukes. I'm just saying. How does he spell it?
TUC. I think it's a reference to a mechanical machine that was supposed to be faked or something like that.
Oh,
I remember hearing, I think, if it's what I think it is. I don't know.
see.
I know him more from the Annie Up games originally. I've been on a couple of cruises with him.
Oh, no
So,
kidding.
yeah,
Wow.
real nice guy.
Every once in a while, someone writes in and they're a new member, and I often they say like, "Oh yeah, I used to play. I played with John Somsky a couple times. I met him up in Alaska, or I was on some cruise with him, or something like that." You're like this common element. You've got quite a legacy, John, particularly in Minnesota, but I think you really have touched a lot of people in the poker world.
Well, it's kind of interesting because you can tell he plays the Annie Up series that I run plays on the 6s. So the 6th, 16th, and 26th of every month. So on those particular days, Brian shows up for the rec poker games as well, which, as you can see, he won the nightly mixed event on August 6th.
There you go. Makes a lot of sense.
Okay, then for international events, Johnny Quattro got his second international victory for the year.
Go Johnny.
And Gopher Boy TJM.
Oh no.
Whose name is private, by the way.
Maybe it's a different Gopher Boy
as
TJM.
it should be. As it should be.
Got his first international victory for the year. Only his second international victory lifetime. So
wow, there you go.
I have a feeling he just doesn't play very many of
That's
those.
right. On Saturday, he's got 2 kids at home, so I think his Saturday daytimes might be kind of spoken for.
And then adding to the column of really doesn't need to get any better. Stewie 13, Stuart Carriage won the Learn Pro Poker event on Sunday evening. So he can contact Jim at rec.poker for his free month to Learn Pro Poker.
All right, Stu, way to go. I might be seeing Stu in the next little while, actually. I'm itching to get live cards in the air again. And there's just only so many places you can go and play poker in Southern Ontario. So Stu is a good friend, and we played in that same tournament series that I got my main event entry from. So it'd be nice if we got a chance to connect again before too long. Also, I see in the YouTube poll that our Rec Poker Nation just has excellent taste when it comes to all the subjective arts here. Chris, did you put that out there?
I feel slighted, frankly. Zero votes.
And if folks want, we love sort of spreading the word about Rec Poker and what we do here. So if you go to the shop at Rec Poker, if you go under our resources tab, we've got all sorts of Zoom backgrounds and avatar logos and different designs and stuff you can download for free and use to help rep your favorite poker learning community. So go check that out. And other ways that you can support us. If you go to rec.poker/support, you can find all sorts of ways to help out. Just like I hope some folks will help out their local food bank, which is the contest that we're going to be running at the end of the show. People just type the word food bank in. I see many of our members already did. That's awesome. And I'm just going to remind people that food insecurity affects more people than you think, and you never know who might be in need in your neighborhood. And it's a great way to really maximize the return on your donation, whether it's money, time, or some non-perishable items. Go and support your local food bank. Thank you very much.
I want to go back to that poll for a second, because I think it's kind of interesting. I did vote in that poll. I did not vote for myself. And I would have voted for any of the three of you before myself, because all my background is just a blurred image of my actual office. So, well, I appreciate it. Maybe it's just because mine stands out because the rest are professional and mine is kind of just like some guy off the street walked in. But I would have voted for all three of you if I would have been able to.
Thank you.
That's very kind. That's unsurprising. John is a very selfless and giving man. We've learned that time and time again. So Rob, let's say we're getting up to the end. We're getting close to the end of our journey through Dara O'Kearney and Barry Carter's ICM book.
Yeah, we just finished up deal making with and some mistakes are bigger than others on the book study. And deal making was interesting. A lot of people, you get to that final table of a tournament, and the stuff that we play is pretty small, so the deals are kind of not that big a deal. But um, interesting to understand how people don't realize how much equity they actually have at the end of a tournament like that. If you're in last place and somebody offers you last place money, you say, "Oh, sure." Well, in reality, you have a lot more equity than that. So that's an interesting thing. And then some mistakes are bigger than others. And then what they're saying is that, or what Dara and Barry are saying is that calling mistakes are much more costly than raising or betting mistakes. So keep that in mind when we go forward. So we were able to cover 2 chapters. So we have only about 4 chapters left, or 5 chapters left. So yeah, I think there's a couple more sessions and we should be have gone through the book and learned a whole heck of a lot about ICM.
No kidding. We'll all reach out to Dara and Barry and see if we can get someone to come and do a little Q&A with our members. That's what we like to do at the end of every book in the book study. We invite the author to come and answer some questions from the group. And those two are such classy gents. I'm sure we'll have no trouble locking them down. Although they're overseas, so we might have to find the right time of day to do it. But that'll be fun. And then
I think I'm retired then.
Yeah, that's right. You got all that free time. That's right. Well, plus, now that you're working on our spin-off podcast, I want, that's going to take a little bit out of your week. Putting down the short list of fantasy and science fiction books that we're going to explore chapter by chapter.
Oh yeah, there you go. Another book study.
Another book study. That's right. Non-poker book study. So Rob, we're going to be doing some votes again. We sort of last time we picked the next book, we had almost like a ladder kind of competition. Is that what you envision again this time, or do you have a short list? How are we going to do it?
I think that's probably the best way to do it. It gives everybody an opportunity to get involved and decide how they want this to work and which books they want to cover. I mean, it'd be very self-serving if I just picked a book myself and said, "Okay, this is the one I want to do." But I want it to be something that others would enjoy doing. So I know we've been doing Twitter polls, and not everybody is on Twitter. So
good point.
I'm going to try to see if I can sneak something into the Rec Poker website somewhere where we can get some more votes that way.
Yep.
And then combine the two, and then come up with
love it.
With a book.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that'll be here. We're recording this on August 8th, so it feels like the summer's we're already kissing the summer goodbye. We got a few more weeks of overbearing heat, and then it's football season again. Oh my God. There was a real football game. It was only the preseason, but it happened. 2 NFL teams squared off against each other. I feel like
wow.
A new chapter, a new dawn, as a new day has dawned.
Yeah, I'm never quite ready for that. It has to be September before I'm willing to talk about it. This stuff.
Yeah, the preseasons. There was this great ad for the NFL Network back in the day, which was get your predictions in, or stake your claim, whatever. This one that always made me laugh back when the Raiders stunk every year. Yeah, Eric and Rich, I said it back when they stunk all the time. It was this guy saying, "I know it's just the preseason, but the Raiders are 4-0, baby." Anything is possible in the preseason, folks. So if you're a football fan, enjoy that. I got a few more weeks before I get used to life as a Steelers fan without Ben Roethlisberger. So I'm going to soak that up too and get a little sense of normalcy before the end of the world. All right. Well, that was enough of that. Is there anything else we should tell our wonderful folks about? Chris, the theme of the month is blind versus blind. We recorded a forums edition of that, which was pretty interesting. I really liked where I really think the way that you talk about how ranges are capped and uncapped according to the certain actions pre-flop, that really it seems kind of obvious when you talk about it, but it's not that obvious until you examine it. So that was really.
And when you get, I think in the middle of those situations, we often think of, like when 2 players limp and it's not blind versus blind, right? You get a limp to the flop. It's a totally different situation than in the blind one. Somebody really has a clear advantage in those spots. So I think it's it's good to review, and I'm looking forward to the conversation at the end of the month. Be sure you join us for that, because I think it'll be a good conversation. Rob pointed out to me a hand which I think we'll bring to as part of that conversation, which is based on the Adrian Mateos Inside the Mind of the Pro episode. So I'll post something about that both on the forums and on Discord, and come join us for that, because I think it's a good it'll be a good framework. And then we're getting ready for September, when we'll be looking at responding to C-bets, and how do we approach the other side of the table. We've spent a couple months prior to the blind versus blind talking about C-bets in and out of position, but now we're looking at defending against them, and that'll also be good. And speaking of Daro Kearney, I have just sent him a hand for his review, and he's getting that back to me for that as well before he heads to the EPT. So we'll be cheering him on there.
Yeah, that's right. Every month, Chris picks a hand from our premium members seminar recording session, where our members get together and play on Poker Now to kind of simulate a different tournament stage. And then freaking Chris Jones and Daro Kearney review the action, pick a hand, put it through a solver, share their feedback, and a couple of premium members get some pretty high level feedback on how to play in that spot in the future. Just one of the perks of joining up for your first month for $5 using the code RECPOKER. And speaking of forums episodes, I will say we record this one, the chats, every week live on YouTube. And every 2 weeks, we stickle around afterwards and we record an edition of the forums. And I encourage all our premium members, if you've got a hand in the forums or on Discord that you're interested in talking about on the air, or you think other people might be able to learn something from, nothing makes us happier than when a premium member comes and joins us in the conversation for the forums edition to the chat. So if you're free on a Monday night, go and check it out. I see. I think Chris Jones is really finding his stride in the YouTube chat here. I was just going to say that one of my favorite forums edition regulars is John Crowell. And even though he is a Patriots fan, we still let him in. And I see Josh Campbell and Roger are also disqualifying themselves from future consideration when it comes to when it comes to polite football conversations. That's good. I like those guys, and I know we can have some fun ribbing on each other. And I know, come on, Steelers fan, bunch of people in Minnesota, we got to bring some heat into this, or else it wouldn't be any fun at all. But that is for another day. So I want to thank Josh, Roger, who else was in the chat here today? Evil Roy, Martha, everyone else who was in there contributing to the polls. I think most of you are actually premium members already, but if you're not, send me an email, jim@rec.poker, and I'll hook you up. Thank you for joining us for the show. And thanks to our sponsors, the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino, and website AMP. And thank all of you, all our listeners, for making all this happen. And of course, Chris Jones, Rob Washam, and John Somsky. Y'all are the best. We'll see you again real soon.